Hey, this is Kirk, the bariatric carnivore. Why is meat treated like a second class citizen in the carnivore community? Interesting question. Let's talk about it. When you think about it, pork is about the most democratic meat out there. Anybody can own that has a small parcel of land, and the government allows you to have livestock on it, can put a pig out there. And pigs are great because they eat virtually anything, scraps, leftover meat, whatever you happen to have, it's edible, they will eat it. And they convert it very efficiently into high quality protein at a very low cost, doesn't require a lot of room. Think about that as opposed to ruminants like cows, sheep, goats, etc. Those require large amounts of land to graze on. So, the ruminant animals are considered they're economically more expensive to produce. You get to pay more for them when you get them at the supermarket. Uh, a roast of beef now is somewhere around $6 or so a pound, but a roast of pork is a couple of bucks a pound because it's cheaper to produce. So, why do we think that pork is somehow not part of a carnivore diet? Because when you compare the nutrient quality of pork versus beef, they're virtually the same. I mean, pound for pound, they've got virtually the same amount of protein in them. There's a slightly different composition as far as nutrients is concerned. Yes, beef has a little bit more iron, but you know, pork makes up for it with more thiamine and vitamin D. So, it's kind of a wash. They both will keep you healthy and all that. Now, why do we have this problem with pork? Well, many people consider pork a dirty animal. It's got diseases like trichomosis and stuff like that because, major religions have banned it because it's supposed to be unclean. Islam, Judaism, both reject the eating of pork for their members' adherents. They're banned because they're unclean creatures. Now, does that mean that they were particularly dangerous in the Middle East? No. Virtually every other civilization around them were eating pork and they were raising pigs. I mean, even the Bible, there's an offshoot of the tribes of Israel, the Samaritans, and they were raising pigs. So, there were people there that were eating them and not suffering any great health effects. But what's the difference? Why was there this opposition to it? Well, some people would suggest that it was economics and power. I mean, frankly, pork is highly democratic, relatively easy to grow, to raise, doesn't require a lot of land. And by making this something that's quote unquote unclean, you basically give a lot of power to the ruminant producers. And, that's where a lot of the economic power came into it. And we see this happening in medieval England, where the forests were considered the king's property. All the game belonged to the sovereign, who used that meat to feed his army, etc. And basically, you had two different classes. You had the peasant class and you had the elites, and the elites got the high quality food, but the elites also ate pork. They did not allow peasants to raise their own pigs. They allowed the peasants to have some chickens. They allowed them to, raise some grains and potatoes and stuff like that. But frankly, the serious meat, pork, beef, stuff like that, was reserved for the elites. But pork has suffered this reputation as being kind of a disease, second class meat. Part of it is, because of, the threat of trichomosis. But when you look at, the different diseases that cattle can bring to a community, like tuberculosis and stuff like that, anthrax, beef has similar dangers. and they're not that great a danger. When you compare the foodborne illnesses from pork versus beef, they are virtually the same. So it's not really a health concern, but it is certainly a economic issue when you really get down to it, because it is significantly, maybe pork can be about a quarter the price of beef, and it's delicious, and it is just as nutritious as any other form of meat. So I'm going to suggest to you to quit kicking pork to the curb and really start looking at it again and start incorporating it into your diet. Because if you're a carnivore, you know, money counts, taste counts, variety can count. I mean, I like to mix it up. I like liver once a week. That's me. But I cook it up with pork. I bake. I fry it up with bacon. I eat sardines and fish and stuff like that every now and then. Tomorrow I'm doing drumsticks. I mean, because they're 98 cents a pound. Inexpensive protein. I'm going to grab it while I can. I'm not a big turkey fan, but I am a fan of ham. So I'm going to be, while meat prices go down post Christmas, I'm going to buy stuff on sale and utilize it down the road. So don't fear the pork. You're not a second class carnivore if you eat pork. Pork is nutritious, it's delicious, it provides just as much nutrients as beef. It's still good for you. It's just we've got some issues and frankly, some ruminant chauvinism on the part of the carnivore community, that they keep making pork a second class citizen in our diets, and it really shouldn't be. It's just as good as beef, and it will maintain your health. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. I try to put out a couple of messages each week. If you like this message, please hit like and subscribe. Join this channel of other like-minded folks. I will talk to you again soon.